Thanks for joining me. In today's episode, I'm going to talk you through cleaning your kitchen. We're going to get those dishes done and get some other work done in the kitchen. And I'm also going to give you an update on something I talked about in an episode 5 years ago. But don't worry, I'm going to play the clip and catch you up to speed on what's going on. Hi, everyone. I'm Ronnie, and you're listening to Clean With Me, the podcast where I talk you through cleaning your house. It's time to gear up for your cleaning session. Maybe you need to freshen up a little bit for the day. Get dressed, run a brush through your hair, wash your face, whatever it takes for you to feel presentable and ready for the day. Or maybe you want to do a laundry switch. Get that laundry from the washer into the dryer. Hopefully you don't have a load that you have to rewash because you forgot about it from the day before. If so, no worries. Put a little bit more laundry detergent and a little bit of white vinegar in there. Rewash that. Or maybe you're just starting a new load from scratch. I like to get my machines running, and by that I mean my washing machine and my dishwasher at the beginning of a cleaning session. And of course, if you don't have a dishwasher, the equivalent is just getting your dishes started. Another thing you might want to do to gear up for your cleaning session, if you're like me, you might want to straighten up your immediate front entrance area, whether that's a separate entryway or it's just your front room, wherever people enter your house. You want to get that first impression area quickly straightened up. But this isn't a deep clean or anything because this is a kitchen episode. But I like to get myself feeling presentable, the entrance of my house feeling presentable, and then I like to get my house smelling good because I'm going to be throwing away things as I clean the kitchen anyway. So I'll take out that kitchen trash. That way I'm walking outside, getting some sunshine and fresh air, getting some exercise, getting my blood pumping, doing a little bit of grounding as far as my feet touching the outside world, which I like going barefoot. I know it's the dead of winter, but it's not that cold today. And I've already been outside barefoot, and yes, it felt good. And sometimes getting the house smelling good involves starting a wax warmer or lighting a candle. And another thing that I'm really big on lately is opening up the blinds or curtains and letting in some natural light at the beginning of a cleaning session. And I've said this before, but that really motivates you to straighten up that front room or whatever people can see when you open the blinds or the curtains. But even if you don't want to be quote unquote on display, as my mom calls it, you might want to just open your blinds and have them pointing upward a little bit. Or maybe you have like darker drapes that you open to expose the shears. If you have like that sheer curtain underneath and you're letting light in that way. These are just some ideas. Of course, I can talk faster than you can do these things, but these are just some ideas on where to begin because a lot of times you don't feel like cleaning when you click on an episode like this, and I'm trying to help you feel motivated and just get you started. So over the next 9.5 minutes, you're going to be listening to a clip from an episode that I recorded in January of 2020 entitled, Has My Mail Carrier Gone Postal? Everything you're going to hear for the next 9.5 minutes is from that episode, even the part where I encourage you to get started on your dishes, but obviously that still applies. And then after I play this clip, I'm going to come back on and give you an update on the situation because this person is still working as a mail carrier in this town and there's been a new development. And it's just funny because one of my longtime faithful listeners just made a comment on the Facebook page, Clean With Me Podcast, where she mentioned that what got her kind of hooked on the show was that episode, Has My Mail Carrier Gone Postal? And then I remembered that I've been reading the Facebook posts of a local friend who's having trouble with her mail carrier, and I realized that it's probably the same person. So I'll come back with that update. Here's the old clip from 2020. Our mailbox is kind of far, so I often stop at the mailbox on my way home from somewhere. because it's on the right side of the road. So when I'm on my way home, I'm in the correct lane to pull over and stop at that mailbox. One day I was on my way home and I noticed that the mail truck was parked there, loading it up or whatever, putting our mail in the cluster box. And I parked behind her, not directly behind her. I mean, there was plenty of space between us. I just pulled over because I was excited to get my mail and kind of wanted to wait till she was done. And it was not like I was breathing down her neck at all. There was plenty of space between our vehicles. And she looks at me and just, this is kind of a visual thing. I'm waving my arm and you can't see it, but she just kind of makes an angry face at me and waves me away, like, go ahead and go past me. I feel it was pretty obvious that I was waiting for my mail. I mean, if you're going to be a mail carrier, you're going to see people who are excited to get something waiting for their mail. So I found that really irritating, and I thought, really? It's not like I got out of my car and just stood there watching her put the mail in each box or something. I mean, I was just parked on a public street. So that kind of irritated me. And there was also an incident where my husband and I had both ordered some packages and they were marked as delivered, like placed in parcel locker or whatever it said when we checked the tracking, but then they weren't. So it was like she put down that things were delivered and then they were not. So she may have given them to someone else or just said they were delivered when they weren't. But he went in and did a complaint, and he didn't even know about the packages I was expecting, because who tells their husband every time they order something? Anyway, but he complained about his, and then once he did that, we received a bunch of packages on the same day. Some of these items were marked delivered like a week before that. So we were like, okay, this is weird. Fast forward to Christmas, my brother called to ask if I got my Christmas gift, which I did not. And he had the tracking that it was marked delivered at a certain time. So I thought, well, I'm going to get her on this one, because I think there are more than one. They told me before it's not the same person every time, blah, blah, blah. But it usually is a certain woman because I see her. So I took that information in, filled out a form, and they had the time and date of when she said it was delivered to the parcel locker. Then I ran another errand. When I got home about an hour later, I see her at the mailbox checking all the parcel lockers, and it wasn't the usual time when she delivers the mail. So it was like, okay, she got a talking to, and she's looking for that package. But if it was placed in another box, by now somebody might have kept it or whatever. And then, my brother did a thing on his end so he could redeem the insurance and stuff like that. Anyway, that package was never delivered. So, I mean, there's probably more, but I'm giving you the short version of it. You've probably had plenty of time to gear up for your cleaning session. So let's move to the kitchen and I'll continue on with the story. But you're going to want to gather up any dishes from around the house or maybe just other parts of the kitchen and move those over to the sink area. And you're also going to want to just remove clutter, whether it's on the floor, the countertops. Maybe you need to put some food away or containers away, or just relocate things to other areas of the house. You're going to want to just kind of get your countertops cleared off and get the dishes either into the sink or by the sink. And then, of course, you're going to do the dishes, whatever that means for you, whether you need to empty, reload, and run your dishwasher, or pre-rinse some dishes and start that first sink load to wash by hand. Maybe you're doing a little bit of both. You're going to gather up dishes, straighten up your kitchen, and wash the dishes, whatever that means for you. So be working in your kitchen, and then, of course, after that, we'll work on surfaces. So we got a package. It was homemade beef jerky from my father-in-law, and he had it kind of vacuum packed in this sealed plastic thing. He has one of those things, whatever it's called, that seals it up and everything. So the food was safe, but the box that it was delivered in was just totally crushed. There was a big hole in it. I mean, if I didn't know better, I would think that the mail carrier just stomped on our box, because obviously she knows I'm the one who complained. When I complained about not getting my Christmas gift from my brother, I mentioned that story of how she waved us away, and I gave her physical description. I mean, obviously with that form about the package, she knew which person had complained about her. I mean, she may not know what I look like, but she knows which address complained about her. Let's put it that way, which name and address. Unless she really remembers waving me away, but that was months ago. But I just recently brought it up when I didn't get my Christmas package, early January. So anyway, I just thought, could it be that she just stomped on this just to spite me? But obviously it could have gotten smashed before that or whatever. So I was just kind of like, whatever. Then a few days later, I was on my way home from somewhere and my kids like checking the mailbox, especially my daughter. And I pulled over and kind of handed her the key so she could check it. And she's like, Mom, the box is stuck. The box is stuck. I was like, what? Okay. So I hop out of the car. There is a box inside of my mailbox. Now, in case you don't have a cluster box and you don't know how it works, there are several little mailboxes, and then you use the key to open that box. Ours is number 12, okay? So you open up box number 12, and there's mainly letters in there or small packages like padded envelopes or whatever, things that would fit where your letters go. If you have something bigger, they either put it in a parcel locker, these bigger boxes underneath, or they drop it off on your doorstep. So if you have something in a parcel locker, when you open up little box number 12, you see your bills and stuff, and then you see a key. And then you grab that key and you open one of the larger parcel lockers, and then the key just stays in the lock and you leave it there and then you get your package. Some of you are familiar with that. So anyway, there was a box in our little number 12. It wasn't in a parcel locker, and it was the same. It was the same size box from the same company I regularly order from that's always in the parcel locker. But this time it was wedged in my mailbox so tightly that my daughter couldn't get it out. And then I was having a hard time getting it out. And I was like, you're kidding me. How did they even get this in here? I feel like this woman purposely just shoved it in there. I mean, this is happening shortly after somebody stomped on our box of beef jerky. So I'm just pulling at it, and I'm having to kind of smash the box. And I felt comfortable smashing it because I knew what was in it, and I knew that the box was larger than the contents and that it was going to be well padded and everything. Just, I knew that because it was something that I order regularly. So I was having to kind of flatten part of it to get it out. I mean, by the time I got it out, it was pretty mangled. And yes, I took a picture of that and the other box. I took a picture of that one being, when it was still wedged in, after I removed it, how it looked. And then, of course, the stomped on beef jerky box. I also have a photo of that. I haven't been back in there to talk about that, but I don't know. Sometimes you feel like you've got better things to do than to just gripe at the post office again and again. So anyway, yeah, I have this nemesis apparently. Part of the reason why I haven't gone into the post office and shown the pictures of the damaged boxes is that since then I have not seen that particular mail carrier. I saw someone else. So what I'm hoping, best case, is that other people have complained about it and she's not working there anymore. Maybe if she's not fired, maybe they should switch her to a neighborhood that has different types of mailboxes, because obviously she gets confused with the cluster box because they open it in the back and they have to stick things in the correct box. So hopefully by now you've gotten your dishes done, but no worries if you're facing a disaster today, meaning you've got more dishes than would fit in one dishwasher load, or you need to wash several sink loads. That's fine. If all you get done during this episode is your dishes, that's something. It's a start, and you can always listen to another episode after this. However, most of you are probably ready to start working on the surfaces of your kitchen. You're going to want to work from the top down. So if this is a day that you're wiping down your upper cabinets, start there. But for a lot of you, you might just be doing the minimum today, which of course would include wiping down your countertops, your stove top, the controls of your stove, the fronts of your large appliances like your dishwasher, your refrigerator, your oven. Of course, when you're wiping down the countertops, you're going to pick up small appliances. You're going to wipe those down. You're going to wipe under them. You're going to do all the things. And of course, since you did your dishes, you're going to scrub out your sink and shine that up. And then lastly, you're going to sweep the kitchen floor. While you're working on all of that, I am going to give you the update on the mail carrier situation. So, years later, a friend of mine posted that she received a notice not to block her street's cluster mailbox, which happens to be on their property. And the mail carrier had told a neighbor that if she continues to block the mailbox, she will not deliver anyone's mail to the cluster box because it's dangerous for her to park there and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, the neighbor reiterated to my friend that please don't block the mailbox because I don't want my mail to be stopped, because basically everyone using that cluster box would be punished. However, this lady's husband, my friend's husband, had parked his personal truck in the same areas on the street for almost 20 years with no issues. And they measured it, and he's parked like 8 or 9 feet away. She talked to the postmaster, who said it's fine and he'll have a talk with the mail carrier. The neighbor also has photos and videos of this mail carrier parking the mail truck and delivering the mail to the community mailbox without any issues in the past. And the neighbor even drew a chalk line 8 feet from the mailbox to the truck to show that they weren't blocking it. And even the local police department advised my friend to file charges for harassment if this mail carrier continues to complain about where they're parked. She basically, it sounds to me like the woman doesn't know how to parallel park or something. I don't know, but it's her job. So she's going to have to get it figured out. They're not going to just clear off the whole street for her. And when I read these posts, it was starting to dawn on me that it might be the same person because of how this mail carrier didn't even like it that I pulled up behind her after the fact when she was already parked. So she just wants nobody near her while she's working on a public street. So after like the third post on this topic, I messaged my friend and I basically asked her the description of this woman. And it's a small town, and I'm like 99% sure this is the same woman because the woman she's having a problem with fits the description of that mail carrier that I had a problem with back in 2020. So apparently she's in another neighborhood right now, but they've still got her delivering to cluster boxes, which she just can't seem to handle. One of the reasons that I'm telling you this update is that this friend of mine who is dealing with all this drama from this weird mail carrier has lost a child. Can you imagine? She's gone through the unthinkable, and yet this mail carrier seems to have this vendetta against her now and, doesn't want her husband's truck anywhere on the street. And this is a family that has teenage children, adult children, and so they need a place to park. We're the same way. We've got 2 vehicles in the driveway, one on the street. So, totally normal situation. The message here is to be kind to people. Obviously, you should always be kind to people because you don't know what they're going through. And here, this mail carrier, this psycho mail carrier, is giving my friend a hard time, probably not knowing that she lost a child recently. Anyway, it's infuriating, but I wanted to give you the update on that. Hopefully, you're wiping down the surfaces of your kitchen and you're going to be sweeping soon. While you're finishing up in the kitchen, on a more positive note, I wanted to kind of relay something that I was talking to a friend about. She works remotely from home, and she was saying that part of her morning routine is to quickly pick up her entire house, remove any clutter off of the floor, put her shoes away, and whatever else, dog toys are out, things like that, and basically get her house Roomba ready. She has one of those robot vacuums. I don't have one, but I know some of you do, so I wanted to kind of share this, that she gets her house Roomba ready before she sits down to work. Then she's out of the way and her house is working for her while she starts doing her job. And one of the reasons she got the Roomba is that she has a hard floor and she has multiple dogs that shed. So for you pet parents, this might be something that you need. If you despise vacuuming or sweeping the other way, and let's face it, we're all busy. If you're like me, you would rather be walking on the treadmill or going for a walk in the neighborhood than vacuuming or sweeping. So at some point, I want to get one too. In the past, I've thought that maybe it wouldn't work with kids and pets, but I like what she does because she does the quick pickup right before she sits down and she's going to be home alone for a while. And that's the perfect time to let your robot vacuum get to work. So, just a thought there when you're done with your kitchen, maybe you want to get your whole house vacuum ready if you've got one of those automatic vacuums. But I don't know how many of you have those. So, if you have a Roomba or similar device, go to Clean With Me Podcast, the Facebook page, and post a comment under this episode whether or not you have a Roomba. That way I'll know whether I should mention that in future episodes. If enough people have them, I'll start talking about it in future episodes. Another thing I want to remind you of in case you're new to the show is that if you're overwhelmed by dishes, there are a couple things you can do to prevent pileups. Number one, of course, you can get some disposable products. The only ones that I really get lately are just the paper plates. We use regular bowls. We do use regular plates in situations where we're cutting steak on a plate or whatever. My husband prefers to eat off of those hard plates at dinner time. Sometimes the meal is kind of a wetter meal that has a lot of sauce or whatever. I get that, but a lot of the time we're using paper plates. And the other thing that I've done is I've taken a lot of our dishes out of circulation, meaning I've hidden them in a hard to reach cupboard. So we have them for Thanksgiving or when, we decide to have a lot of people over for whatever reason, but that they're not always in circulation. So if my husband and I are out and about for the day, it will be impossible for the teenagers to dirty very many dishes because they simply don't have access to them. They're not allowed to get into those overflow cupboards, if that makes sense. So I hope that helps you. And another thing that I've implemented recently in the kitchen is emptying the drying rack and the dishwasher first thing in the morning because we all know that we're supposed to do dishes after dinner or before bed, basically get down to dish zero at the end of the day. Most days, we're going to fall off the wagon. Life's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to come home late and just crash. I get that. But the routine should be to wash all your dishes at the end of the day. But most of us are letting them air dry or the dishwasher is going to dry them. Okay. In the morning, instead of just patting yourself on the back that your kitchen's clean, put away that clean stuff because that sets the stage for washing dishes throughout the day as you use them. So that's such an important tip that I hope you are all implementing. Another thing I wanted to remind you of while you're finishing up with sweeping your kitchen or whatever you're doing is when you're preparing food or brewing coffee or waiting for the teapot to whistle, use those minutes in your kitchen to clean. Just get in the habit of cleaning during those waiting periods, waiting for water to boil, waiting for even your Keurig to dispense the coffee. You'd be surprised what you can get done. Lately, I've been emptying my drying rack while my Keurig is dispensing my coffee. And yeah, I take a little longer to empty the drying rack than it takes for that coffee mug to fill up, but it's going to be there when I'm done emptying the drying rack. And when I'm cooking and I'm waiting for water to boil, I'm looking for things to do in my kitchen, whether it's organizing the pantry or throwing away some empty packages that were left out somewhere. I don't know about you, but we often have empty water bottle packages in our pantry. Even though we have the big water dispenser, we do buy those individual waters for various purposes. And sometimes when the kids take the last water, they're leaving that package in the pantry floor. So while I'm in the kitchen cooking, I'm throwing that stuff away. That's just one example. But use those hidden moments where you're in the kitchen. And another benefit of staying in the kitchen while you're cooking, you're not going to forget about the bread in the oven because you're going to smell it start to get toasty and then you're not going to end up burning it. So just make yourself stay in the kitchen and do something productive. I realize you clean your kitchen before you cook, but while you're cooking, you're going to clean as you go. You're going to maybe scrub a shelf in your refrigerator or organize your pantry. You're going to stay busy in your kitchen so that you have less to do during your deep cleaning sessions. Because, of course, you're going to clean up after the meal or at least at the end of the day, if you do let dishes pile up throughout the day, I don't recommend it because a lot of us are just, if you're like me, you're overwhelmed by a huge mess. So that's the key to keeping a clean kitchen and avoiding overwhelm is just cleaning as you go and then cleaning up after each meal. But cleaning up after a meal is not going to be as daunting if most of the work was done before the meal was even served. You were cleaning as you were going. You were looking for other tasks to do in the kitchen. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, I hope you got a lot done during this episode. Don't be like that mail carrier. Be kind to people because you don't know what they've been through. By the way, special thanks to my financial supporters who support me on Patreon or by subscribing to Clean With Me Unplugged episodes on Apple Podcasts or through the Spreaker Supporter Program. To learn more about how to support the show and unlock bonus episodes, you can visit cleanwithmepodcast.com. It's all there. Go ahead and check that out. You can also find cleaning products that I use and purchase those through my Amazon link. But even if you're not able to subscribe to bonus episodes or purchase products through my link, just keep listening. Even just listening to these free episodes helps me. And as always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you in the next episode.